up, people? Welcome to a mod spotlight about the mod EFab. The mod is made by MC Jetty. He's making crazy mods like all the time, like RF tools and deep resonance and other kinds of mods. You can choose, there's a pile of them. This mod spotlight is based for the players. So it will not contain any config or anything like that. It will only be for the players. There's another one for developers if you need this one. For players, there are 6 tiers of crafting. There is the gearbox, the liquid, the steam, the RF, the computing, and magic. So let's just get onto it. In EFab, there are base recipes that you can do, but they will mostly be different for your modpack as they will mostly change. There's even stuff like the upgrades, they don't have any recipes. In here, I did do some items to show the crafting and how things work. They're mostly from thermal expansion, and it's just to give you an example of what you will be pointed in towards in your mod packs. So let's get on with the first tier. Before we look at the tiers, there is the basic of the mod, which are mainly 2 blocks with an exception for the monitor because it doesn't belong in any category. It's to work with the EFab crafting grid. So here you have an example of a little bit setup. It's nothing crazy. There are 2 blocks. So you got your EFab crafting grid, which is made basically like this. And you can do this in a normal crafting table. You can use the EFab crafting grid as a normal crafting table. If it's not disabled, the recipes can be disabled. And there's the EFab base, which kind of acts as cable connecting everything together. But you can also do nice walls and some floors. So this is made like so. Stone in the middle, 4, and you can start it. This one, again, can be done in a normal crafting and no issue. Like I said, you can do normal recipes in here as well. This is a normal recipe, and it's going to craft for you. But you can make everything that is in the EFab section, in the mod, every recipe needs to be made into an EFab crafting grid, or a crafter that we're going to see later on with the auto crafting. But your main block that you're going to get in the beginning is going to be an EFab crafting grid. There are 4 sections. Well, 5 if you check the button. There's your crafting grid, your inventory. Here for upgrades, these 4 upgrades here, they can go in here when you're going to need them. And you've got your output here. So if I do shift click here, it's going to craft all that I can craft. You can also leave, and it's going to continue working while you're not in there. So again, this thing here, it's going to tell you it's going to take 0.05 seconds to do the craft, and you can shift click to repeat the craft, and then you can leave. For the monitor will tell you the recipes that are in here, what is happening. Normally, they seem to be configured to work with 1 EFab. So over here, that's why you haven't seen anything about these. It is because, first, these are working for bigger stuff. Like this one here, I made a recipe just for this. It takes 40 seconds to make, and I will show you how they work. But this is the base recipe. You also need to have the computing, so you will need a processor and RF, which we're going to see in the next sections. So over here, let's see how it works. I'm going to click start, and you can see that the screen is going to show you the status of your crafting. Both screens will show me the same thing. So at the moment, I didn't see a way to show other crafting grids on there. They seem to connect to one and the others are ignored. We can make the test by simply doing this. Let's turn off this one. So now it's going to tell me there's an error. Start this one. As you can see, it's not being picked up. If we remove this one, place that one there, it is still on ignore. and error. When you look at your EFab grid in JEI, it's going to tell you exactly what you need to be able to make this craft, like the liquid that you need, the DRF that you need, the times it needs, all the upgrades, all the stuff that needs to be in the crafting. So please be aware of that when you do a crafting. There's also another thing we need to talk about when it comes to the basic of EFab before getting into the tiers. It is the size of your EFab can have a direct interference is not really a good word, but it can play a lot on the server. So you have to be careful when you make your EFab to not just make your whole base out of EFabs. It is a multi-block structure, so it needs to recalculate the blocks connected to it when you put something new to it. There is someone that tested to put 250 RF storage box and he lost his world. So just be aware of this when you make your builds. But except that, it's pretty much infinite. You could place a cable that goes 250 blocks away and place a crafting grid over there. It should work. For the first tier, we have GEARBOX. GEARBOX are quite simple. You add them and they make you be able to craft anything that needs a gearbox. But they can also speed up the recipes that need gearbox. So, first of all, this is the default recipe for a gearbox. And if we grab them, we can see over here I created a recipe that needs a gearbox. And since I don't have any, it says the gearbox is missing. So it is not able. I cannot click on it to craft anything. But if I add one, boom, now I've got start. And it's 10 seconds recipe. So I could click, but it takes a lot of time. So I can add a second one. And if I add a second one and I replace the item because it needs to be updated to take into account the new blocks. Also, when you start a recipe, the blocks that you had will not play in the current recipe. Only when you'll start a new craft will they take into account the blocks that you added. So if you started something that takes 30 minutes and you add another gearbox, it's not going to take 15 minutes. It's still going to be 30 minutes. You just need to restart your crafting and then it's going to take into account the second block. Currently, the gearbox in the config are said that they can only be 4 gearbox. So for me, if I have 2, it's 50%, so 5 seconds instead of 10. If I have 3, it's a third of that, so 3.3 seconds. If I have a fourth one, it's going to be 2.5 seconds, which is a lot better than 10 seconds. So if you had more in the config, you would be able to pretty much do something like this, and that's about, 16? Yeah, 16. So you would be like 1/16 of the normal time, which would be quite awesome. But 4 is still pretty good. So this is the exact thing the gearbox do. It doesn't do much more. For the second tier, fluid, we have a couple of things we need to be able to make fluid crafting. Because again, if I look here, I can do it because I've got my water. But if I did not have my water, I would not be able to start crafting this thing. So if I just disconnect it from the system, now you see, it says it's not working. If I reconnect it to the system, oops, I'm just trying to make this pretty at the same time. Now it says that I can craft because this thing uses, of course, water. But there's 2 types of tanks. There's the normal tank, which in the config again can be changed, but this one holds 16,000 millibucket and is crafted by default with 8 iron ingot. We can start. It's going to craft. This one in the default recipe also uses gearbox. So again, if you've got multiple ones, it's going to lower the recipe speed. If you want to make bigger tanks, you can make the advanced tank. And this one is made with blocks, and this one also needs the gearbox. So if we do this, 0.6 second. Going to make this one and this one again in the config is at 64,000 millibucket. But like the gearbox, you can also speed up recipes. So over here, we've got a recipe that I created again. It's a creative probe for 5 seconds with 200 millibucket. But we want to speed it up. It is not as insane as the gearbox because in the config, it says that you can only have 2 pipes. The pipes are made like this, quite simple. And when you place it down, the first one won't do a thing. But when you place a second one, it's going to divide it by 2. So now you can start crafting and you've got your creative probe. Well, if you have really weird recipes like I created. But yeah, this is the liquid crafting. Tier 3, steam. Steam is a little bit more complex, because to make the basic block you will need the gearbox, and to make steam you need liquid. So you need an advanced tank or a tank with water inside of it, and depending on your config, it will take a certain amount of water inside the tank every tick to be able to make the recipe. So if the recipe is 20 seconds and it takes 5 millibucket every tick, well, it's going to take 500 millibucket. And basic ones is 5 millibucket a tick. So if it's not changed, it's going to be 5 millibucket per tick. It's the only thing you need to know, because when you're going to craft something, it's not going to tell you how much liquid you need as water. So there we go. But you need water and you need heat because it's steam. So you can do something like this, netherrack, and place your fire on top of it. And this is going to give you your heat. Just be aware that fire burns, so no wood around it. There we go. Warning accepted. Then you're going to need the boiler on top of it. So boiler, basic recipes like this, but it needs the gearbox like I said. When you're going to craft it, it's going to give you your block. You're going to place it on top of it. It's going to look all nice and dandy. Pretty cool looking block, if you ask me. And this is not enough for you to start crafting, because you also need a steam engine, which is made like this. This thing is also a speed up block. So if you place more than one, it's going to speed up your recipe. Me, again, I've got a limit of 4. So if I place 1, this thing here will be 10 seconds. If I place 4, this thing will be 2.5. So I can shift click and you can hear how beautiful this thing is. There's also the animation in front because the steam, it's hot. There's gas coming out of it, and these things just make amazing sound. So this is the steam, guys. It's pretty cool looking. Tier 4, RF. We don't discriminate here on type of power, but in the config, it says RF. So we're going to RF. But yeah, to do any RF recipes, you're going to need a little bit of mathematics, because it works like so. Your block that you're going to need gives you a certain amount of RF a tick that you can apply to a recipe. So if I look at this one here and I replace it, because it says 60 RF a tick needed, but only 0 possible, because I don't have anything that produces RF. Same thing here, it says 10 RF a tick, but only 0 possible. So this is one thing. But there's other things that you need to know when it comes to RF. There's 2 blocks that you will need. You need one if you do small recipes, but you'll need the other one if you make bigger recipes. So the first one is the RF control. The RF control is what will allow you to actually craft. If you don't have one of those, it will not do anything. So let's see. So this is the recipe. It needs steam as the last one. So we can craft it. And this thing, let's see. I'm going to place it here. So as we saw here, this thing can give 20 RF a tick. You can use up to 4 RF controls. the block. You can have 4 because my limit is 4 to speed up the recipes. The same thing as the other ones that we saw. And if I look here and I place it back, it's going to say not enough power because this thing has no power. So it is normal. When I'm going to place it here, it's going to tell me I can start crafting it. So that is cool. Well, what happens if I speed it up? Now, it says, oh wait, we have 20 RF in here. Can speed it up? Okay, we still have 20 RF, so we're good. I'm gonna speed it up again. Oh wait, I can craft it? I cannot. So, at the beginning, I always say that this is a mod, and there is things that could be looked at, but the mod maker already knows about this, so it is something he said that he was going to work on, and letting us know that we can't actually craft it. But this is why I said you need a little bit of mathematics. So what happened is, we've got 20 RF storage. We can only send power with this one, as these over here do not have power connected to them. So only the ones that are connected to a cable, and they need to be all of them connected. You cannot place it here, will not get power. It needs to be directly connected to something that generates RF to be able to emit RF. So now, if I do this, it's working. But eventually, you don't just want to make these, because after you got 4, you don't need more. You want to have storage to keep your RF to make bigger recipes so you don't lose anything. So what we're going to use is RF storage. Again, this one uses lava, so liquid crafting, and steam with the basic recipes like this. So we'll craft it. There we go. We got 1 RF storage. So if we look at my recipe here, it says 240 RF a tick. I can't craft it because again, these, they speed it up, but the basic one needed 60 RF a tick. So when I did this, it does work because I do have 60 RF a tick, but now it's asking me for 180 RF a tick. So it's based on the basic counter. So again, I'm going to put it at 240. So there's 2 things you can do to reach this. You can place a bunch of these. And there we go. We're good to go. But there is also a 3rd block into the RF. It needs to use the next section that we haven't talked about, the computing section, but it is called the power optimizer. This block considerably optimizes RF-based crafting operation by negating the time constraint and allowing the craft to go as fast as there is available power. So what does that mean? Well, that means that I can remove all of these. This thing here, oh, I did not want to do that. Well, again, not start because it can't, because this is 20, this is 20, this is 20, this is 20, and this is 30. As you can see, 30, 10,000. So we've got 110 and we need 240. So what we're going to do is we're going to craft one of these, which we can't because, again, we've got this thing. So I'm just going to grab one. And I'm going to place it like here. Now things are a lot different. Things craft. Because this thing can hold 10,000 RF a tick. And it can emit 10,000 RF a tick. So the power you have can all be spent into one recipe. So this is pretty much what this block does. It will allow you to break the limit that you can contribute to as much as you have stored. So if we had these 60 here, we have 60,000 RF a tick that we can give if we can, of course, feed it 60,000 RF a tick. So this block is your friend as it speeds up things even more. But yeah, so you saw that this thing says 12.5 seconds and it's pretty much instant when I craft it. Also, these machines do a nice noise. I love it. But yeah, so if we do this, hey. Oh, I forgot my block in the middle. But yeah. So this is RF crafting. Tier 5, computing. Computing is also related to auto crafting in its own because they kind of work together. So the base of computing is this one here, the processor. This block adds processing power to the fabricator and is also needed for auto crafting. It is made by using RF at 10 RF a tick. So if we do this, we've got 4 speed upgrades hidden somewhere. And there we go, we have a processor. So this thing will make our recipes that need computing work. So right now it says a processor is missing. If I add it, now we can craft it. But if you want to get into auto crafting, you're going to need something more. You're going to need auto crafter and auto storage. So these two here. So you got the crafter and the storage. So item storage, crafter. Let's craft one of each. I'm in creative. I don't need more. These two can act together, which is pretty cool. The block that needs redstone is the crafter. The crafter needs a redstone signal to work with an exclamation mark, so don't forget about it. So if we place it here, it has a redstone signal in the back, and it has no recipe. So that is a little bit sad. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab a couple of blocks here. Let's do this, and let's just do that. And let's take half of this one. So this thing here, well, it just needs the computing, so it can work. I love the sounds. But yeah, so this is pretty cool. Because now what I can do is, again, I can come here and grab the crafting that I need. And ingredients are missing. It's because I need storage. So if I've got storage here I'm going to put crafting in all caps. So this is the name of this one. And here I'm going to call it crafting as well. And I'm going to place the items in there. And as you can see, the item leave, go in here, and they start making stuff. Let's say I'm not putting anything in here. Okay, so we crafted this one here. It's fine. I'm not going to put a name here, and this one either. So let's place these there. Oh wait, it's still working. But if I click A, ingredient missing. It is because if there is a name, it's going to look for the inventory item storage that has the same name. If it's not there, it's going to take any inventory that doesn't have a name as well. So this is pretty cool. But when you do auto crafting, you don't want to look inside to see how many items you have or what's the problem, why is it not working? Well, then you've got the auto crafting monitor. This one needs you to have computing to be able to do it. So let's craft it. There we go. Got a screen. Again, I can place it here. And it tells me that there's an error with my creative connection. So here, my creative conversion kit has an error. So that means I can come here and I say, oh no, I clicked a key. And when I'm going to do this, it says, look, it's even giving you what it's crafting. If, let's say I had another crafter here, and this one had this recipe instead. Here, a crafter that makes crafter. Well, let's place these in there. Oh look, this one now shows there as well. So you're going to have the two, and all your output is going to be here. So you just need to pipe them out, and it's going to work. This is computing and auto crafting. It's not complex, but there's a lot of things that you need for it, because to craft the items, you need redstone, RF, you need everything like that. So this is as simple as it is. Tier 6, mana. Mana isn't really fully implemented yet, but I thought I would show it to you guys just so you know what it's going to be about. So of course mana is related to Botania with the new textures. And so over here I've got my everlasting pool, I've got my spreader, and I've got a block that has no recipes and no icon. It is the mana receptacle. At first I thought that mana receptacle was not something in EFab because I was not able to see it, but you need to have Botania in there to be able to see it in your JEI. So this thing might not have anything, but when you place it down, it is an actual block that receives mana. And if you don't have it, the reason why I was perplexed to show it is because it says there's no mana support. But I can still show it to you guys because it actually works. It might not be fully implemented yet at this time, but the principle of it actually works. So you need, of course, to make your mana receptacle, which does not have a recipe. The information that are there can be modified in the config file as well to be, it can store more mana, can probably contribute more mana per tick as well. So all of this can be changed by the mod maker. So yeah, pretty much you place it there. It's going to tell you the number of mana per tick, the total mana you need. So if we click this, it's going to craft my everlasting pool. A second one. So this is pretty much what there is to it. I haven't found a block that can speed up the mana receptacle, and there you have it. Now that we've seen the 6 tiers, let's look a little bit into what is a little bit quirky and what is a little bit different about EFab. So there are also 4 upgrades that you can have in your EFab. So those are Armory Upgrade, Magic Upgrade, Power Upgrade, and Digital Upgrade. Those do not have recipes on their own. As I can show you, I'm clicking R like a maniac, and there is nothing happening. So those will probably be added depending on the mod pack that you play. So yeah, you're going to need your upgrade. And let me show you something pretty cool. I'm going to put it here, and now I can craft it. Oh yay, I've got my pickaxe. So let's remove this. Let's look to the magic one. I want to make glowstone. Alright. There we go, we made glowstone. What if I've got my upgrade here and I want to make glowstone here? You can't. They do not propagate from one machine to the other, so it's not like the blocks. You need to have your upgrade in all the machines that will be crafting the item that you want. So just be aware of that. So over here, RF upgrade. I know, the power upgrade, you would think it would work with RF. Normally, the mod maker should probably do that, but it works on its own. This thing here, just need the upgrade, and you can click start, and now we've got the fluxed something, fluxed phyto grow. And over here, well, you know, I was trying to find out what I could build with a digital upgrade. Why not a command block? And there we have it. We've got a command block. So this is pretty much how they work. You put them there, and if you don't have the item, it's going to tell you the power upgrade is missing. So you can put it there. You can also put more than one in a single one. So you could put more here. There we go. You can put 16, 17 if you want. There we go. I'm pretty sure it still counts as one, but you can if you want. These are pretty much the only thing that you need to know about the upgrades. It's what they do. So in the quirky parts of EFab, there's a couple of things that we found out while we were playing. So over here I've got 4 gearbox. So I'm going to take one, I'm going to break 3. So I've got a crazy recipe over here. It says I need RF. Okay, can we replace it? There you go, it still says I need RF. So we're going to place another one of these. So that's 20, 20, and 30. So it says it works, but I need 120. Okay. Well, let's try something else then. I'm going to put this here. So this is 60. This is 20. So this is going to be 80 RF. Right, I can craft it. Perfect. What happens if I place a second gearbox? Oh, it needs 120 RF. Because this recipe is a special recipe. It uses Steam, Gearbox, RF, Liquid, Computing. Wow, I can't see them anymore. Computing, upgrades, 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 upgrades. So if I don't have the upgrades, it's gonna fail. If I don't have the liquid, it's gonna fail. If I don't have the steam, it's gonna fail. If the power is not enough, it's not going to start. Because this thing, since it is in the recipe, will also speed up the time. So it's gonna take 5 seconds. And when it takes less time, this thing will go up. So this thing diminishes by 5 seconds, so it's half. This thing's gonna go up by 2. So now we need 120. So if I place my 4 gearbox, this thing now needs 240 RF. So again, we could, if we wanted, place a power like this and click start, where we're just gonna grab another one of these, and boom, it's instant. Even though there was more than just the RF for the craft, it instantly worked because this thing makes pretty much instant craft for the RF storage, then everything else works with it. So they all work together, and this is what is important. So, alright, let's see this thing here. So we need more mana dust. So let's grab the mana dust. Let's grab our primal mana bucket, and let's grab the leather. We're going to come to this one here. So we're going to do the same recipe. Like so. Armory upgrade is needed. Oh no! Ingredient missing. So you see when I say things are a little bit quirky, is when you have auto crafting, do not use multiple EFab crafting grid, or else it's not gonna see it. Let's try something. The armory upgrade is still missing. Okay. So, even if I was further than the other one, this thing was still seeing it. So, like I said, one of these, if you have auto crafting, that is it. And here it's gonna say ingredient missing. Alright. Well, I guess we're kinda gonna have to go and grab our item storage. So we're gonna place it here, and we're gonna take 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. Take one of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. Place it there. This thing took longer than I anticipated. So let's put more. That took longer. As you can see, it is not instant. The auto crafting at the moment do not take into account the power optimizer. So only when you're going to do it manually will the power optimizer will be used. It might be an issue at the moment, it might get changed in the future, but like I said, the crafter do not take into account the power optimizer at this moment. But yeah, this is pretty much the integration of everything together. So again, when you have everything, like the auto crafting, do not have multiple crafting base, put your upgrades together, and this thing is going to work. Well guys, this was all of it. If I can give you a little bit of a help, is just read the tooltips. The tooltips will help you a lot because the configs can be different on servers from servers and from modpacks to modpacks. So just read the tooltips. It will tell you how many upgrades you can have and these kind of things. It will be really easy for you. But if you have any questions, you can ask them in the comment section below. I will try to answer them as I can. If I cannot, you can probably also ask them to MC Jetty on his Twitter account. If there's any bug, you can probably report them on the issue tracker. That is linked in the description below. But this is going to be it. So I do hope you enjoyed this mod spotlight. If you did, don't forget to leave a like. If you loved it, don't forget to subscribe, guys. And I will see you next time. Bye bye.